Beterbiev, Bivol. That's fight night. So as it stands, right, I need to get an idea of what time the ring walk is. So obviously, when they did Joshua Dubois, that was in Wembley Stadium. Wembley have a curfew, so that was easier. The problem with this card is, right, it's for me it's a distant card. And what that means is I think that the majority, certainly the majority of fights are maybe even all of them actually, because when I look at it I think that looks like points, that looks like points, that looks like points. Chances are the majority are going to go the distance. So they have a tendency with these Saudi shows, and I think they're doing a musical performance again, which, I mean, we're grateful to get these big fights made. We're grateful to see these big shows, but like that's what we're asking for. No one's asking for, Liam Gallagher in Wembley a couple of weeks ago, whoever the performer is on this occasion, so on and so forth. I mean, that part, they're trying to put this show end of it, it's like, oh, we had Eminem on this, which is like, we're boxing fans. Boxing fans just care about the word boxing. The musical act is just the real kind of, oh, for God's sake. So I'm hoping moving forward they will eventually, wane that out. And then, because with the Joshua Dubois card, I know I'm talking about the length of the card, but seriously, it went like clockwork because they were told 11 p.m. maximum, gone, done, see you later. It was fine. With this one, this could go late. I mean, the match from Queensbury 5v5, remember, that was like 1 a.m. UK time when we finally finished up. I think it was a bit later than 1 a.m. actually, to be honest with you, because a lot of the fights did go late on that card. And yeah, this one could be the same. I hope it's not. But in terms of the fight itself, look, I can't wait for tonight. I think, I've always said it, that Beterbiev Bivol, you could have given me a crap undercard and I would have still just been like, don't care, I'm getting the big fight. That's the fight I want to see. 2 years ago, pretty much resigned myself to the fact that we weren't going to get this fight, whereas now, we're here. Both guys weighed in yesterday under the 175 pound limit. We also seen Fabio Wadley, Fraser Clark weigh in. I think Clark was 270 thereabouts. Wardley was in the 240s. They're the two fights on this card that myself I'm most looking forward to, and I think probably 90-95% of the boxing fans who are going to be watching tonight, they're the fights they're looking forward to. It's a shame that one doesn't lead into another. It's a shame that Chris Eubank Jr., for whatever reason, is co-main evented against Sarah Metton, in spite of the fact that there's the prestigious IBO title on the line. But in reality, it's not a world title fight, nor is Clark versus Wadley, but it's a fight that fans are a lot more interested in. I think that should be co-mained, but look, it is what it is. In terms of the main event, this fight right here, it seems as though everyone is split. When it was Fury versus Usyk, it seemed that the majority were kind of like, yeah, it could go either way, but where you could tell Usyk going in, certainly with boxing fans, people who didn't have a horse in the race, a lot of the like talk sport and all, you're picking Usyk, how dare you have that view? Like Piers Morgan in here, how dare you think that? It's like, well, what happened in the end? But with that fight, it seemed like the majority were picking Usyk, but it wasn't a sizable majority. Definitely was a sizable majority picking Anthony Joshua against Daniel Dubois. For the most part, in fact, actually, if I'm not mistaken, I know there's only do fan show or the fan zone, and I know for Joshua versus Ngannou, correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't Joshua only a slight favourite, or did some people actually have Ngannou ahead of him in the fan zone poll with the zone? You correct me if I'm wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure if Joshua was favourite in terms of the fan zone vote, he was only a slight favourite, which bit strange when you think about it. But with this one right here, it just seems like everyone is 50-50. It's either Beterbiev wins or Bivol wins. Some people are saying that it's going to be similar to Gassiev. I've actually seen this. Some people are saying that it's going to be similar to Gassiev versus Usyk, in as much as Gassiev is Artur Beterbiev, and I've also seen them say it's going to be a bit like Otto Wallin versus Murat Gassiev. They're basically implying that Artur Beterbiev is like a smaller version of Murat Gassiev, which he absolutely isn't. Gassiev is a big, strong, big punch, and certainly when he was a cruiserweight, he was very big and very strong for the weight. But you could see the flaws in Gassiev's game a mile away. I mean, you could see the flaws in his game when he won his first world title against Denis Lebedev, fought him in Russia, and that was a Lebedev show. I think that was Ryabinsky, who runs World of Boxing. I think that was on one of his. I remember that card actually. Julius Ndongo knocked out Tryanovsky in the first round. I think there might have been, I can't remember who was on that card, but I know Sky did the commentary. It was a good fight actually, to be fair. But in that fight, apart from Gassiev being able to break the much smaller Lebedev down with just punching power and physical strength, man, my guy was getting outboxed by a cruiserweight who's 5'10", 5'9". That's what was happening. Gassiev was never good at adjusting to what a guy was doing. It was always come forward, apply pressure. The one time he did box in the back foot was against Dorticos. He looked very good, but he just neglected that moving forward. Against Dusek, he was completely outclassed. And against Otto Wallin, that fight was there for him to win. He just resigned himself to just throwing single shots, and he was actually stunned in that fight. To say that this is going to be the same as that, I think you're very naive to say that, because Beterbiev has shown that he actually, unlike Gassiev, he's not just a come forward brawler. He's not just a pressure fighter who knows only one style, who knows only one way forward, which is front. He can do a lot more than that. He can box in the back foot. He can punch moving forward. He has a very, very good jab. He has good footwork. Completely different altogether. I mean, Gassiev, for those who don't know, I think he only had like 20, 30 amateur fights, which for an Eastern European fighter is nothing. It's not a lot of amateur fights in general. But when you look at most Eastern European fighters who have hundreds upon hundreds of amateur fights, that's very rare. And it really showed with Gassiev, even at cruiserweight. Punching power was there, but it showed that there was a lot of flaws in his game. Beterbiev has had a couple of hundred amateur fights. Yeah, it's a very different story altogether. Having said that, I do think that he's definitely in for a tough fight tonight. Dmitry Bivol is a world-class operator. He's a great mover. He's got great balance, great punch selection. His jab is also very, very good. To me, this fight just screams that it's going to be entertaining, that we're going to see action, that we're going to see drama, that we're going to see trills and spills. I'm sticking with my original prediction. Originally, I was Beterbiev, then it was Bivol, then it was... You're going back and forth because it's such a competitive fight. But I always say go with your first instinct. My first instinct was Beterbiev, so that's who I'm still going for. On points, but who knows? Let me know in the comments, just a quick final thought video. Let me know in the comment section your thoughts in the comment section below. Like I said, we will do a live watch along. I'm going to spend most of the afternoon kind of prepping for it to make sure. It's very different doing it here as opposed to doing it back home in Ireland. We'll see how it goes. I have a laptop, which you can't see, but it's there, that I'll be watching it on. I'll probably plug the phone in like this, or probably the other way around. And yeah, that's how we're going to do it. We'll work on it as the day unfolds. But let me know your thoughts in the comments. I hope to see you all later for the live watch along, as we always do. And yeah, I'll leave it there. Peace.